Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Call Me Obsessed podcast. I'm Frank, and in this episode, Aaron and Karen sit down with Jessica, a principal dresser on Broadway for Wicked. Jessica's journey into this world started long before Broadway. She's originally from California, where she studied theatrical costume design and construction at Fullerton College, and built her foundation working in regional theater, including 5 seasons as a dresser at South Coast Repertory, along with many other design, assisting, and sewing roles over the years. She later moved to Virginia, where she became the wardrobe supervisor at the Barter Theater, leading an entire department and overseeing productions at a whole new level. After the COVID shutdown, she made her way to New York, working on off-Broadway productions, which led to the revival of Company, where she worked as a swing dresser and day worker. And then eventually, to one of the most iconic shows in musical theater, Wicked. She's now been with Wicked for almost 4 years, working closely with one of the most iconic roles on Broadway, helping bring that character to life night after night. While the audience is focused on what's happening on stage, Jessica is part of everything happening just out of sight, from quick changes that happen in seconds, to maintaining costumes, to making sure everything runs seamlessly in real time. Her role requires precision, trust, and incredible timing. And through her content, she's giving people a rare look into that world, showing just how much work, coordination, and care goes into every single performance.
Welcome back to the Call Me Obsessed podcast. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Karen.
And today, in this episode, we're talking to Jessica, the principal dresser for the character Elphaba on Broadway in New York City in Wicked. Welcome, Jessica.
Hi, thanks so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I have to tell you, I am obsessed with your TikTok and Instagram.
Thank you.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, yep, I'm going to make this happen.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that so much.
Well, your page is so informative.
Yeah, that definitely was the goal. I have worked in wardrobe and in the costume world in many different capacities for almost 15 years now. And every time I meet someone new and I tell them whatever it is that I do, the title, they're always like, oh, what is that? And usually the short story is I work with the costumes. And then the follow-up question is, oh, so you made all the costumes? Because if you don't work in theater, that's what you know.
Right.
So then I'm always like trying to figure out how do I quickly explain what it is that I do? Because while, yes, in my personal life, I do and can make costumes, that's not what the job of a dresser typically is.
Okay.
So my goal with starting to do social media around it was, one, to help inform people who are curious and who've heard this term or wonder, I've seen a show, how do they do all these changes, and help the public understand what it is we do backstage. But also a secondary goal is hopefully to bring more people up who want to do this as a career. A lot of people in my industry find this sort of accidentally because you start in school for one of the things people do know, acting, directing, designing, things like that. And at some point in your career, you find one of the myriad of other jobs there are backstage. And I hope to find more people who want to get started in that and who have a passion like I do for that.
That's great. You just answered a lot of my questions all in one thing.
Were you ever into theater before entering the backstage life?
Yeah, yes and no, not in the way that a lot of people who work in theater are. I don't consider myself having been a theater kid. I loved going to the theater. We did a lot of that when I was a kid. My 13th birthday was to see Phantom of the Opera. In college at one point, a friend of mine and I had season tickets to the Pantages, but I didn't grow up doing theater. I'm much more of a visual arts kid, painting, drawing, things like that. So I didn't perform in plays. I didn't do those sorts of things. Again, I found this accidentally where I got into theater and costuming and everything backstage in college. I had a change in my major and just kind of found it in my 20s. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, kind of accidentally my way into it. So I did love it, but I didn't have the same sort of like acting and growing up doing it and all those things that a lot of my peers did.
Wow. That's
I
very cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. I actually think
that's really cool.
it just
Thanks.
shows that you naturally, it happened for you
Mm-hmm.
so naturally of how you were creative and visually. Yeah, I actually love that story. So that I love
Thanks.
that you can still be involved in the arts without being
Mm-hmm.
on stage. I think that's powerful.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities. There's so many different things happening on stage and off stage. And, it's one of those things where like I said, I didn't grow up in it the same way. So I think that some people can worry that they're not getting started early enough, or they don't have the right background, or they're
Right.
not getting the right education or schooling or
Right.
whatever. And I'm 40 and I am doing this, and I didn't get started in theater till my mid 20s, and I didn't grow up as a theater kid. So I think that there's so many different ways that people find their way into this. There's no one right way. It's all about getting any experience, any skills that you can to start yourself wherever you're at.
Right. Oh, interesting. That's
I love that, Jessica.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thanks.
I feel like you do have one of those jobs that people think they understand, but they really don't. How would you describe to someone in your own words what you do?
Yes. It's a very big question. It is, especially when within even dressing, no two jobs are kind of exactly the same. So when I was a dresser in regional theater versus a dresser off Broadway versus a dresser on Broadway, a swing dresser versus an ensemble dresser versus a principal dresser, even within my department within our world, there's so much variety. So for myself as a principal dresser, I would say that I am responsible for anything that my actor needs off stage. I'm responsible for her costume changes. I'm responsible for carrying anything that she needs to do whatever number she's going into, carrying her water, lozenges, tissues. I carry green Band-Aids for her in case she gets, a cut on a prop or a set piece or whatever. I help with her fan mail. I help manage the dressing room and keeping it tidy. I maintain her costumes. It's a very broad scope of things. I could go on and on and on and listing the things that I do. And some of them are very typical of the job. Costume changes. At the end of the day, pretty much anywhere, a dresser does costume changes, and that is the base responsibility of a dresser. And then depending upon what show you're on, who you're responsible for, there will be other things sort of tacked on to what's expected. And then there are things that we do that are more because I want to and I want to help them. My favorite thing is taking as much stuff off of my Elfie's plates as possible so that they're not worrying about anything happening backstage. Their only thought is like, what do I need to be doing on stage? Because I'm making sure they are getting to their cues on time. I'm making sure they have the correct props. I'm making sure that they are going the right way for the backstage traffic, because we have to avoid traffic collisions with other people and with set pieces and et cetera, et cetera. But then I also like to help with their fan mail because it's, again, something that takes something off their plate. We get a lot of fan mail, of course, for Elfies because these actresses are so wonderful and this role is so well known and people really look up to it. And so I love being able to do that for them. And I sort of go through and prep everything for them. So I take a look at the letters that come in and I see what people are, asking for. Are they asking for a signed playbill sent back, or have they sent fan art, and then sort of like staging that for them so it's out and ready and accessible for them to see and enjoy. And then whatever it is that we're returning, if we're returning a playbill or a picture or, whatever return mail.
Yeah.
Just to help them out in any way I can.
That's a big job description.
Yeah. It keeps me busy and it keeps me challenged, and that's the way I like it.
Yeah.
You definitely name some stuff I wouldn't expect you do.
Right.
like the Longines, the green Band-Aid, like that's great. This is a wonderful. I love the way you answered that. Like that was really, really informative.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would have had no idea.
Yeah, it is.
No idea.
It's really funny. We had so every person who comes in for this role, they're different people. They're taking on the same role, but they're going to embody it differently. The things that they need to do it are going to be different. And during the show, I wear an apron, and in that apron, I carry whatever they need. I've got multiple pockets. We can stuff it to the brim. And so I usually have their water, and then one side I've got like tissues and hand sanitizer spray, other little things that I kind of just always have no matter who is playing the role. And then in the other pocket, I'll have that person's specific thing. So like a tin with their name on it for lozenges, if they have vocal sprays, if they have whatever else it is that they need. And it's always fun to kind of start the beginning of their role, of their contract with the role, and figuring out what they need where. And some things they'll just want off the cuff. And so I'm prepared to pull something out at a really quick drop of the hat. Or other times we'll have set cues where at this cue, I'm always going to want this. So always have this ready. So they'll be sort of like, I used to joke when my Elfie Mary Kate Morrissey was on, we had several things when she would come to me before Defying Gravity, and other people would pass by and I'd be holding out several things in my hands for her to just kind of grab and take, and it was the buffet. So she could like run by and I would have like her water and tissues and lozenges and spray, and she could just, whatever she was feeling she was needing for that number that day, she could run by and take from the little buffet before she would run on to do this number.
Yeah, right. Like
it's so much
ready
fun.
to go.
It's almost like every Elfie you get to know on their own personal level. Like one does their run and a new Elfie comes in to play that character. So you get to know the individual and how they're going to play that character, it sounds like.
So it's like individualized needs, basically.
Yes. Yeah, we try.
Interesting. Yeah. So I have a question for you. When you tell people what you do, what's their first reaction? I mean, when Aaron said, "Hey, we're going to interview Jessica," I was like, "Oh wow!" I was like, "Okay." I mean, I kind of got the concept of what you did, but not really, to tell you the truth, because there's so much more involved with it.
Yeah, usually people's reaction is surprise, as well as that sounds like so much fun.
Right.
And, I tell people like that's why I got into it. I had started school for costume design and costume stitching and construction, sewing costumes. And, in a lot of educational aspects, you have to work hours in whatever it is that you're learning. So, in theater departments, you're putting on a show, you're working hours on that show, whether it be something that you are studying or something you're not studying. To, a lot of people do sort of across the board things to gain a wealth of knowledge. And I, on one of my first shows, got assigned to the wardrobe supervisor role for a show that we were doing in college. After that, after like one night of it, I was like, this is a job? Like this is a real job, because even I didn't know that was a job. And I was like, this is the most fun I've ever had in my life doing anything. And I was like, I still wanted to design, I still wanted to sew costumes, but I was like, if this is a job that someone will let me do every day,
and you're going to get paid for it,
this is what I want to do. Yes, exactly, even better. And so when I tell people, they're like, "Oh, what is it you do?" And I try and give them the little like Reader's Digest overview of it. It's sort of a twofold, like, wow, that is so much, and also that sounds like so much fun.
It's fun.
And it really is. It's like you get all of the joy of the theater aspect of like the creativity and, being in that environment. And it is so fast paced and it's challenging because it's live and anything can happen. And you have to be able to problem solve at the drop of a hat, and also, interpersonal skills, because you're working directly with so many different people all day, every day.
Right. And they change out from time to time, too.
Yes, a lot of change, My actresses change over every year. My standby actresses change over every so often. The ensemble changes, the other principals change, the other dressers change. So that is also another thing. When I went into it initially, I'd never worked such a long running show before. I'd come from regional, which is mostly maybe a couple months run of doing the same show, and then it's over. So you really don't get a chance to get tired of it because you sort of just get settled into it and then it's over. And I was like, wow, I could potentially work this show for years. Is that going to be so boring, essentially?
And that's what I'm wondering right now.
Not only that, how many years? I mean, have you been on this?
I'm about to hit 4 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. May 4th is my anniversary date with Wicked. So I'm about to hit 4 years.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm still just as passionate about it as when I started, because it's the same show, but no 2 nights are the same. You know, with differences in the cast makeup every day, differences in the crew makeup every day. And even when you're like, oh, this is the same group-ish, you're having different things thrown at you because, again, the live theater aspect and things happen. So it really never feels like the same show twice.
That's so cool.
That's very cool.
I'm going to throw in one of our questions from Nancy, who also is a part-time segment host here on Call Me Obsessed. And her question for you is here.
Hi, Jessica. It's Nancy. I'm curious as to what the most creative trick or costume hack you've had to use to make a lightning fast change backstage.
Hi, Nancy. This is such a fun question. And as I was thinking about it, I was sort of going back through my years of not just Wicked work, but all sorts of other different shows that I've been a part of and different theaters I've been at. And one thing that has sort of been common throughout my years working in wardrobe that's, I think, is sort of creative is when I have a really crazy quick change, one thing that I do to sort of make it easier or make it smoother is I get creative with how I prep the costumes or how I hold the costumes. So if I have a very fast quick change with a lot of costume pieces, especially a lot of things that are layered, I try to find a way to hold everything at once. And that way I'm not taking time to turn to where I have things set or to have to move to find things. So I have over the years, especially in like men's costumes, when you have like pants and shirt and undershirt and a jacket and a hat and belt. A lot of it is how much of this can you prep beforehand? So like having the belt open but already strung through the pants. And then how many of these pieces can I already be holding? So I will have like and it's sort of building like in from me outwards. So the last thing to go on is closest to me and the first thing to go on is farthest. So a piece of a man's suit would be his jacket. So the jacket is going to be like against my body, kind of tucked a little bit under my arms so that my hands are free, but I'm still holding it against myself. And then you'd have like the next to last thing would be the pants. So the pants would be, you know, somehow tucked in also, or draped over an arm or whatever. Shirt, and you have that already, you know, preset essentially with your hands where the arms are, and then the very last thing being like the undershirt. And so that's like all like scrunched and ready to go. And the way that you would maybe like take it and put it right over your head rather than having to pick it up, find the front, find the way it's already like scrunched and set where you can see the holes, if that makes sense. So you're just kind of like diving into it. And so then when you have the person run up to you, it's just kind of like, rather than stopping, finding the thing, orienting it, positioning it, finding your way through, it's just kind of like boom, 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 boom. It looks really funny when you're standing there and you're kind of just covered, but it saves you seconds. And backstage wardrobe is in seconds a lot of the time. Sometimes you get lucky and you get changes that you just have several minutes, but a lot of the times it's, can you do this in under 10 seconds? This, you know, complicated changing of outfits in 2 seconds. A lot of it is how you prep it and the things you think about, you know, putting things together already as much as possible. Sometimes if the pieces work together, you can already layer them. I've had shows where you can put the dress shirt already inside of the jacket. You have the buttons sewn to the outside so it looks like it's buttoned, but underneath you have Velcro for the quick change. So you just put it right onto them, slap the Velcro, and they're ready to go. And it takes 2 seconds.
Yeah, I would have never thought of that. Velcro, buttons on the outside.
Yes, there's a lot that goes into quick rigging in a lot of costuming. I've had shows where they've wanted the quick changes to be so fast that an entire man's suit is essentially one jumpsuit. And so the shirt is stitched to the pants, the tie is stitched in, and there's a zipper up the back. So from the front, it looks like it's one complete suit that's been put on piece by piece, but it's all zipped up the back. So even down to the tie, you have the tie tied in the front like you would, but then there's a break in the back, and then you just put a suit jacket over it. You can't see the zipper, and now it looks like they've got a whole regular suit on, and it took them 5 seconds to put it on.
Yeah. And every second counts, right? So
it really, really does. Yes.
It really does.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about wardrobes, I want to ask you a question regarding what is the worst malfunction that you've ever had in a wardrobe?
That's rough. The universe does like to throw things at me. There's such an array of things that has and can happen, knock on wood. The most difficult things I'd say and so that I would put under worst because it would be the most difficult to recover from is when you have, say, a stuck zipper, because then you're either stuck in a costume that you don't want to still be in, or you can't get out of a costume, or can't get into a costume. So stuck zippers can be really hard, especially again, when you're talking about we're operating in mere seconds. So if you can't get out of something and you might have to break the zipper, or you might have to find a way to safety pin up a zipper if you can't get into it. So that's definitely one of the worst the universe has thrown at me. Another rough one is anything to do with shoes, because amongst everything that we do, of course, our actors' safety is the absolute first most important thing. So in everything that we do, we're trying to be quick, we're trying to be efficient, yada, yada. But everything we do, we want to make sure that the actors are safe, and their shoes are a big part of that. If their shoes are not well maintained, if something breaks, if something's coming off, their shoes are a big part of what keep them safe on stage. So I did have once an Act 2 Elfie's shoelace break, a runaround from the stage to her going up from the trap for No Good Deed. And, it broke right across the front. There's no way for me to repair that, but I'm thinking she's going back on stage for a while. I need to make sure that her shoes are safe. There's a lot of other little things that can break that you're like, this isn't going to be the end of the world. With the story, it's not going to mess with their safety. It'll be fine if we don't fix it in this moment, but a shoe repair in the moment. So because there was nothing I could do, obviously, to switch out a shoelace in that moment, and the ends broke apart from each other, I tied a knot in both separate ends so that at least they wouldn't back through the shoe and unlace the rest of her shoe. And I did that basically on the lift for her to come up, because she ran down, said something about, she's like zooming by as she takes her water and her thing, something about her shoe. And sometimes if it's like, oh, this little thing ripped or this little thing, and I'm like, okay, it's fine. It'll be okay for the next bit. We don't need to worry about that right now. But I hear shoe, and I'm like, shoe. We bolt to the lift, and she gets on and she lifts up her dress, and I'm like, in like 1 second of analyzing it, I'm like, can't tie them together, have to tie them separate. So I tie little knots on both ends so that it doesn't slip into the shoe, and unlace the rest, or, make the shoe feel less safe or stable for her. And then, after the show, I was able to take the lace out, put in a brand new one. And, but we were able to continue on with the show. Theater is always going to throw crazy things at you, and you just have to analyze it and try and solve it and keep running.
Yeah, right. That was not what I was thinking that you were going to say for sure.
What would you have thought?
I don't know. Well, zipper I was thinking, or something, with one of their props or something like that, but not a shoelace.
Yeah.
Nope.
I was definitely not thinking shoelace.
And Karen, did you think the shoes would be such a big deal?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm thinking here
I'm thinking dress, something like that, undergarment, something, some type of prop. But not shoe.
Definitely shoes, because again, the safety aspect of it, there's a lot that I do to maintain and look over on the shoes. And sometimes things get missed, or sometimes when they're wearing down, like you can't really see it, it's really like thin, or hidden underneath, and then it just like goes.
Yeah.
But that's definitely something that I am a lot more diligent about now that has happened. Theater also teaches you what to look for.
Oh,
and so there's a lot of
self-awareness is amazing, Jessica.
Yeah, you try and learn from the things that happen and continue on with that. And so now when I go through the shoes, I'm not just looking at the other things that I was already looking at. I was looking at the soles of the shoes. That is a big, big factor. All of the shoes get rubber on the bottom so that they have more traction, because slipping on the stage can be a big issue. So making sure that the rubber not only still has enough tread on it, that it's working, but also that the rubber is well attached to the bottom and isn't flipping up, because that can also cause them to trip. Now it's like, okay, I'm checking the undersides of the shoelaces and I'm checking the back, where it cuts inside of the shoe, and, all of those things, just to be extra diligent about it.
Jessica, have you ever had a time where you had to get the understudy ready during a show for Elphaba?
Yeah, so I have had that happen once in my career, where my full-time actress was ending the show at the end of Act 1. So our standby actress was actually going to come in. And we actually have a standby actress and an understudy actress who cover both witches, both Elphaba and Glinda. So my full-time actress was ending at Act 1. And so then we had to get our standby actress ready for the rest of the show, for Act 2. So we had her already starting to get ready right as the first act was coming down. And then she went straight into the makeup chair. Our makeup artist, who does all of the greenification of our Elfies, got right to work. Normally, it takes about a half an hour to get them green. She was able to get our standby actress green in about 7 minutes, which was incredible to watch.
Wow.
And in the meantime, I'm switching costumes over. I'm switching over accessories, water bottles, the things that I carry in my apron, which are different. And luckily for me, my changeover is really, really easy because I keep everything in the dressing room. So my full-time, my standby, and my understudy actresses, all of their stuff is in the room. So it's not so much a matter of having to go get it, fortunately. It's just moving things around in the room and then laying out what we will need for the standby actress for the rest of the show.
Okay. Oh, very interesting. I didn't know there was a standby actress. I always thought it was just straight understudy, and then there's just understudy there. So there's actually 3.
Yes. Yeah. Ideally, we always have a couple of people standing by to be either of these roles, because they're obviously so important to the production. And these things will differ on different productions. They might have standbys, they might have understudies, one or the other or both. With Wicked, because the witches are so obviously crucial to Wicked, being the main characters. We have standby actresses for both, and their entire job is just to be in the building and be available at a moment's notice to go on. So they are the first person called if the full-time either of the witches have a vacation, if they're not feeling well, if they have a personal day, whatever reason, the first person in line to go on would be the standby actress. Both standby actress witches are in the building, and they don't have to be like ready necessarily as far as like costumes or makeup goes, because again, we can get them ready pretty quickly, but they're just around and ready and available. However, on the other hand, our understudy actresses are in the show every night. So both the witch understudies are in the show. They have their own ensemble tracks. So if you come and see Wicked on any night, you will most likely see them in the show. They have their own things that they do, their own entire tracks, but they are sort of the backup to the backup. If for some reason, our full-time actress is out on vacation, and then the standby actress isn't feeling well or has a personal day or what have you, then they're the next one called when it's sort of usually last minute notice, because we have them in the building.
There's a plan A, B, C, E, and F.
You're ready to go.
Has so many plans. Yes. We also have people that are just kind of around, that aren't necessarily like on call as you would think, but we know that they're somewhere nearby, that often if we do have an emergency or if we have a longer vacation and we need extra coverage, we do have other ladies that are typically past witches who have done the role on Broadway or on the tour, who we know that we can call and are likely around to also help film.
The hat,
well, that has to relieve the pressure on you too, knowing that it's so organized.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes. Wicked is a well-oiled machine. We've got plans for just about everything, even though, again, live theater tries to throw things at you that you cannot anticipate. But generally, we have a very good set of plans to help with that, and a really great leadership team. Our stage managers are fantastic at knowing how to address anything that comes up.
That's great.
And now we have a question from our editor, Sassy.
Hi, Jessica. It's Sassy. Question: what is the most difficult garment to strip off in just a few seconds?
Hi, Sassy. That is a great question. So every garment, I would say, has its own unique challenges. I would say for Elphaba, the hardest thing to get out of quickly is her school jumper. When we have her one short day change, it's one of those things that can either be incredibly easy and quick, but it becomes the most difficult thing when it doesn't want to cooperate. The zippers, like I was saying, it has a hidden zipper in it, which is what makes the out of it so fast. The entire one short day quick change is about 15, 16 seconds. Hidden zippers, the side hidden zipper in the jumper is part of what helps with that because it is very quick out and falls away in literally like 0.5 seconds. Unless it's not cooperating, and it becomes incredibly hard to get off of her because it's not an immensely fitted costume, but it always wants to catch around her midsection, but that's always where it catches, and then it doesn't want to fall away, and it catches sometimes on the inside lining. And I have some like tricks that I've been working on over the years that make it happen less often, but you're going and sliding this very long zipper that you're trying to do very quickly. And the moment it catches on anything, it is basically done for. And then you have to kind of try and like shimmy it down the actor. We don't do that in the first places, then it's down by their feet. And then there's the added potential for it to get caught on their shoes, caught on their feet. They might trip getting out of it. And that just, can make things more difficult. So ideally you want the whole zipper to run the whole way.
And that's the white top.
So the white jacket goes over it. It's the blue jumper dress. She wears it from the top, for school. Okay. And then she wears it through the party scene and popular. And then she gets the Galindified jacket over it. Yeah.
When I first saw Wicked, I've seen it 21 times off Broadway. Karen and I went to New York in September together, and we cannot wait to go back. We're gonna do like a Broadway weekend.
Oh my god, yeah.
When we come, we're gonna message you.
Let me know. Let me know. Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I've never seen Wicked on Broadway. I've seen the story. I've read the story. I've off Broadway, I've seen it, but not on Broadway. So
all right,
I haven't either.
I'm very excited.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and my grandson is in love with Elphaba. He just saw that movie. He's 4, and he just goes around singing all the songs. Cute. He has this little Wicked hat. He's got his broom, and he
love
loves
when
it.
Kids love the show. Yeah,
he loves it. He loves it. It's great.
What is something that feels completely normal to you that would feel insane to anyone else?
Something that is completely normal to me that would feel insane to anyone else. Oh, I have a good one.
Okay.
So something that feels normal to me, I would also say, to the green team, hair and makeup, and my Elfies, that feels crazy to anyone else, including people on our show, is that people don't know that Elphaba is still getting ready when the show starts. So she is still in the makeup chair typically, or is still like getting dressed at some point in that, finishing up the makeup or starting to get dressed when the show starts. And anytime someone comes to like visit backstage, if we have shadows backstage, anyone who is normally either like on stage or stage managing or what have you, because almost everyone in the building is on the stage when the show starts at places.
Oh, wow.
The green team is one of the very small number of people who aren't, and she's still getting ready. So anytime we have someone out of the ordinary who either passes by or comes to see us, whatever, they hear places or they hear the show start, and there's a panic. There's a, oh my goodness, we're not ready. We're not ready. Oh my goodness, let them know Elphaba's not ready. And we're just like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is our normal timing. Yeah, because she doesn't
cool.
come into, we're cool. It's fine.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't enter at the top of the show.
Right.
So she doesn't have to be ready at places.
No, when you hear No One Mourns the Wicked, you guys are like,
yeah, we still have, a good little while. But yeah, it's really funny, and it is something that's so abnormal even to theater people. As you hear places and you're like, places, I have to go to places. And it's rare that you don't have to be ready at places. And so for us, because she doesn't come on right at the top of the show, we're not like, we could be done faster, but we're not in a rush because we don't need to be.
Right,
so
right.
We love to chat and listen to music and get ready and
hang out. So Jessica, I have a question regarding the costumes.
Mm-hmm.
So is there one costume for each actor, or do you have backup costumes just in case?
So every actor typically has one set of all of their things. They are not shared by anyone. Now, my full-time actress Carrie has her own full set. My standby actress Alucci has her own set, and then my understudy Emily has her own set. They're not shared. A lot of union equity rules based on how like cleaning things and what can and can't be shared and stuff goes. It's also just nice to like have things, that like fit them well. Within that, they have typically one set of everything. Yeah. So this is part of why I do a lot of diligent maintenance of these costumes, because if something were to go wrong, another one of it.
Typically. Right. Yeah, typically.
You have OCD.
Probably.
The reason I ask is because you sound organized and I'm organized. So is Karen. And I suffer from OCD. And I'm wondering, this would be a great job for someone who has a little of that, because you have to be so organized.
I talk about that a lot backstage, especially when I am either training my covers or other people are watching me do my job, because I'm a little crazy. And I'm not like diagnosed as anything, but probably, I mean, the hangers in the dressing room are labeled, and I have to have the correct costume on the correct hanger in the correct order every show. And before I started, they weren't labeled. And so when my covers, this is not a judgment on them. Like, they're just doing the job.
Right.
But the hanger, the costume might not go back onto the hanger that I put it on, that I expect it to be on. And so then I come in the next day after someone's covered me, and I have to switch everything back to their appropriate hangers and in the right order. And after a while, I was like, what if I just labeled the hangers? Then everything would go back onto the correct hanger. So probably,
maybe.
You and I would get along in like if we ever shared a space.
But you know what though? It makes everything easier.
It makes everything easier.
And
there's a lot of things that I
know
do
where it is and where it's
like
on.
That. Yeah.
We have a question from Joanne.
Hi Jessica, it's Joanne. My question is, if you could choose any show to work on, what show would it be and why?
Hi, Joanne. I love this question. I actually was just talking about this on my TikTok not too long ago. Presently, if I were to be on any other show and had my choice of them, if I were to pick something that's currently on Broadway, absolutely, it would be Hadestown. Hadestown, my absolute favorite show that is on Broadway right now. I have seen it 3 times, with some people who have seen certain shows many, many times. But for someone who works in theater and has a hard time getting to shows, 3 times feels like a lot. I love that show. So I was talking about it not too long ago, and I remember I said I would work anything on that show. I love the music, and it's one of those shows that just getting to be there every night would be amazing, and getting to just hear that music. So I'd take any track, anything on that show. But I also want to add something that I don't think I said in that video. If I were to pick any show, if I were going to work on a different show, and I did talk about a little bit about this on my TikTok because it's my favorite show that I've ever worked. And it's not presently on Broadway, but it has been. And that is Shrek the Musical. Is such an underrated show. And I'm just one of those people who, like, anytime someone either like brings up favorite musicals or brings up Shrek the Musical, I'm that person who just like pops up and I'm like, are you talking about Shrek the Musical? Such a good show. And it's so underrated. And I encounter so many people who have never seen it, which is baffling to me. And I've worked it twice. I worked it in summer stock as well as in regional theater at the Barter Theater. And it's just like, oh my goodness, what can I say about this show? It's incredible. The music is wonderful. The story is wonderful. It's so funny. And it's, I think, one of the few shows that maybe improves on the movie. The musical is better. It's so good. And as a person in wardrobe, it is such a fun show to work on because there is so much happening. Everything is a specialty costume. So everything is kind of a challenge, but like in the best way. And it's a blast. I love that show.
Yeah. Yep. And they have a green team because they're green.
And they have a green
right?
team. Yep. I have a thing for characters painted green, apparently.
Yeah.
When we head to New York, we might have to do it on a Monday and be like, hey, let's go check out
Hadestown. I've never seen that on Broadway. So
Hadestown.
yeah.
So good.
No Shrek, but they know Hadestown.
Yeah.
My daughter wants to see Stranger Things.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. I'm dying.
No, it's brand new. So
Yeah.
Okay. So rapid fire question, Jessica. What age did you learn how to sew?
Ooh, I was probably maybe 12, I would say. My mom and my grandmother were the ones who taught me to sew, and I was pretty young when I started.
Oh, that's
awesome.
nice. Jessica, what is your favorite song to play in the dressing room?
Ooh, favorite song to play in the dressing room. It would have to be either some Chapel Roan. I love playing Chapel Roan. Or my absolute favorite band in the world, Lord Huron. So it's kind of if I want upbeat mood or kind of low and chill mood. Those are kind of my two go-tos when I'm working in the dressing room.
Okay, Jessica, have you ever met Indina Menzel or Kristen Chenoweth?
Yeah, so they were both at the 20th anniversary when we had our big celebratory weekend. They came to the show and they came up on the stage afterwards and we all got to like mingle and they were at the party. It was fantastic. They're so great.
And those of you who don't know, those were the original actresses who played Elphaba and Glinda.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you ever feel invisible in your role that is so important?
I think in backstage roles, it can feel easy to feel that way. I am really, really lucky that being a part of the team that I'm a part of and have had the wonderful Elfies that I've had, that they do such a good job of, while they're doing this incredibly hard job, to also take the time to ask me how I'm doing and to check in with me and to make me feel like I'm part of the team, you know? Mary-Kate Morrissey, even like on her first night, invited me to the party that her parents were throwing for her debut. And I got to meet them and, you know, getting to know my Elfies families when they come and visit, you know, showing them around backstage is a lot of fun. Getting to share little bits of our life is really fun. And we have lots of little moments that we run around backstage together that we just, you know, have sort of like special moments together. I think, like in the backstage world in general, it can definitely feel like, you know, we're not the ones in the spotlight. And most people backstage like it that way. But I think that the relationships that we get to build with our principal actors are so special that, you know, it's so fun in its own way. And getting to be a part of the team is such a special experience in its own way that we feel celebrated in our own way.
And I can tell you do not have an invisible presence at all.
I'm a Leo, so it's kind of hard to
like your energy
fade
is
into
like
the background.
Red fire hot. Like I'm like anytime I see, I'm like, oh, Jessica posted.
Said Jessica on your Instagram or your TikTok about how even the entire production is blocked, including the people that are in the back, correct? Like you got your own way to go, making sure you don't run into anybody. I did not know that. I did not know that anybody backstage, no matter what their position is back there, that you had like block positions back there.
Yeah. And, I like to tell people backstage is choreographed just as much as on stage. So when you think of what's happening on stage, every actor has a set place that they're expected to be when they deliver certain lines, a certain path that they go. Some of that is just how they want the set to look. Some of it is for safety because a set piece is coming this way, so you have to go that way. It's exactly the same backstage between all of our departments. I mean, there's so many people backstage. You have no idea, between stage management, hair, makeup, wardrobe, sound, carpenters, deck crew, props, on and on and on. There's so many people. And so not only for where we need to be for certain things like changes and whatnot, but set pieces are moving off and on into the wings. We fly things out into the rafters.
Yeah.
People who have to run to make quick entrances and things. So everything is choreographed backstage. Myself with Elphaba, when we have different paths that we have to take, like we know when we're walking from the dressing room to the stage for this cue, we walk this direction. But when we walk from the dressing room to the stage for this other cue, we walk this different way. And we're avoiding set pieces, and we're avoiding where other quick changes are set up and other things that we know are happening, so that we have a clear path and a safe path. And when these things are set like this, it's really, really helps people flow. It really helps everyone be safe, and you know where things are and what to expect. And it just makes backstage so much better. So much
less
easier
chaotic,
to move around and less
basically,
chaotic.
right? Yes, less chaotic.
Yeah. So like when
Crazy.
I train people to cover me, I have notes of what I do. So I have a document, and most people backstage definitely
I'm not
dressers.
surprised at all, Jessica, that you have.
Yeah. I mean, that's an industry standard thing, but I will say that my notes are extensive.
Detailed, right?
Detailed?
I love it.
Yeah.
And and so when someone is learning a new track to cover, if you're on vacation or you're not feeling well or whatever, they will get that document, a printout of it, so that when they're covering you, they can follow it and they can see step by step. I go here, I do this, I take this with me, I go this direction, I wait for this person to pass, then I go here. And so it is very choreographed, basically every step that we take.
That's incredible, actually. Incredible. Incredible. I don't think I will. Yeah, I don't think I will ever look at another Broadway production without realizing and thinking about what everybody else is doing in the back, because it's crazy.
Yeah, when you come see Wicked,
awesome.
No, there's 100 people running around backstage.
And I'm gonna say,
wait,
Jessica
happen.
does this. Sister Jessica.
Yeah.
Does
Do you like the color green?
It's actually my favorite color. It feels
nails, right?
Crazy to say that. My nails are greenish right now. It was supposed to be a little bit greener for Carrie's debut, but a little blue-green. But actually, green is my favorite color. And I actually used to dye my hair vivid colors a lot for like 10 years. Like this is the first time my hair has been like a natural color in like 10 years. We just dyed it back maybe, I don't know. Recently, it's pretty new, and it was pink and blue and purple and orange and green and every color under the sun. And before I worked at Wicked, I was at the company revival dressing and doing day work there. Yep. And my hair was like a fuchsia pink. And I was getting ready to change it, because I usually change it maybe once a year. And I was like, it's time to change it. I've kind of done every color under the sun. Maybe I should go back and revisit a color that I love that I've done before. And so I had landed on the green, because I used to have this really deep emerald green kind of color. Pretty. And I loved it. Oh, it was so pretty. And I was like, I think I'm going to do that. And before I could, I started working at Wicked, and I started as a swing dresser. And so I came in with my like fuchsia pink hair and, was still thinking about it. But I was like, oh, well, now I work at Wicked. And then after about a month of swing dressing, I got the Elphaba track full time. And I was like, oh, well, now I'm dressing the green girl. And I don't think I can dye my hair back to green, because it will look like I'm a little too obsessed with this job, even though it is my favorite color and I had already wanted to do it before, and my hair has been green. But I was like, maybe we don't change our hair color immediately to the color that my actress has painted. So it is actually my favorite color. So, I feel lucky.
So what is a swing dresser?
So a swing dresser
Yeah.
is basically the same thing as an actor's understudy. They
Okay.
are an
Okay.
understudy for whatever department they're swinging in. Any department in
okay.
a union job like this will have swings and covers. So you can take a night off, go do something fun, take a vacation if you're not feeling well, and you will train these people to come in and cover your job when you're out. So we have swing dressers and as well as like internal swings. So if I'm taking a night off, there are different people who might be available to cover me. I have an internal swing in the building who has her own track. Her name is Leah Gallagher, and she is a fantastic dresser who's been with Wicked for I don't even know now, 6, 7 years, a long time. She's very knowledgeable about the show and about all the costumes and the changes. She has her own ensemble track in the building that she does every night, but she can swing up to any of the principal tracks. So she can swing up to cover me doing the Elphaba track. She can swing up to cover the Glinda dresser, etc. If she is not able to for whatever reason, or if she herself is out, we also have other swings who are external to the building, so they can swing not only at Wicked but at other shows on any given night.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so external swings might know multiple tracks on multiple shows and have to jump between different shows on any given night, but then they can come in to cover us whenever we need to take a night off.
It's crazy. Yeah, so you have an understudy.
Yeah. Understudies and swings make Broadway happen.
So I'm also thinking like this again. I don't know, but I don't know. Do you take a lot of nights off? If I had to guess, I'm gonna say no.
I would say no.
Not a ton, not as many as I should. I kind of go through cycles where I'll go like a stretch where I just don't take any time off. And, I kind of burn myself out a little bit because it is a very physically and mentally demanding track. And I'm supporting a very big track as well. So I do try to regularly take a show off maybe like once a month just to like give myself a break or like let myself see another show. I do try and take at least a little trip somewhere once a year just to like kind of reset, refresh. I love to travel. So yeah, it's something I'm always trying to be better about, the work-life balance. It's hard when you really love your job because I'm like, I want to be there and I want to be there to support my actresses, especially at like the ends of their contracts or the beginning of their contracts. I tend to not take a lot of time off when they're coming in, especially if they're new, because I really want to like be like a stable presence for them as they're taking on this massive role and getting to know them, and they're getting to know the building, and they're, getting these repetitions in under their belt to feel like they really, feel comfortable and stable in it. And then when they're on their way out, it's like I want to savor every show with them. I try and take my time off like somewhere in the middle. But yeah, I think it's a balance like anywhere of, work-life balance, taking some time to make sure that I'm resting, and but also wanting to be there and yeah, with my team.
That's awesome.
I can tell that you love your job and you love
me too.
people you work with, and I think that's why people are so drawn to your page on TikTok and IG.
Oh, thank you.
Because you can just see that you have a strong aura.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So
I can't wait to show my grandson because I'm gonna show him. He goes on Instagram and we do the TikToks and stuff like that. And I'm gonna tell him that I got to interview the girl that made the Elfie costume, and she gets her dressed every day.
Thanks.
Oh my God.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. What you do is incredible.
Yes.
Thanks.
People like you backstage, I don't feel get the attention they deserve. And when I say attention, the acknowledgement of what it takes to put on a show. And I know that we as humans know that there are people behind the scenes, but we're just not like educated in that in a way. So this has been fascinating. When anyone does anything in life, no matter what they do, there's pressure.
Well, there's always, when you're on a fast-paced Broadway play or even fast-paced life, there's always some type of pressure.
Yeah.
Making sure that you're getting it right. Make sure that you're getting it done.
Yeah.
Do you feel any of that pressure yourself?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Especially when you're newer to a track, definitely as I'm, approaching 4 years, the pressures in some areas have sort of lessened as I've gotten used to things. As you get more used to doing certain things and they become second nature and the muscle memory kicks in, there's certain areas in which, the pressure kind of lifts a little bit. When I had first started the track, I was still running around with my notes, because you want to make sure that you don't miss anything, especially in any high profile job like one of the witches. It's like so much is on them and therefore so much is on you to not mess them up, because me messing my job up potentially means I've messed them up in some way, So, at the top of the show, when I like send my Elfie off to school, I'm like, have a great show. and I always think to myself, it's funny because she'll turn back to me and she'll also say, have a great show. And I think me having a great show means I'm helping her have a great show. And so, yeah, there's a lot of pressure to get everything right. And, because so much is riding on it in any role, but especially in a role like this. And so, you're going meticulously over things. And I think that's part of why, like, my organization comes in, because I want to make sure that everything is exactly the same and exactly correct. Having things set exactly the same every time alleviates a lot of that mental pressure of having to like check and double check things, because I know that I set them exactly the same. I know that everything is exactly where I expect it to be, how I expect it to be. When I follow the same path, I know what to expect. And so some of those sort of like subconscious pressures will alleviate, and then I can focus on the things that actually need, the conscious attention. But yeah, as you do it more and more and more, things become, more second nature. You feel more comfortable. You learn more about how to handle when things go wrong. So there's definitely moments in the show where things could go wrong and I'm not so stressed about it, because I know how to handle certain things that I can expect. I have certain things in my arsenal to address issues that could arise. And so that alleviates a lot of the pressure. Now, every once in a while, things will still happen, because again, live theater likes to keep you on your toes. So maybe something happens that's new and unexpected. And then for the next couple of shows, you're thinking about that thing and going, okay, I need to be ready if that thing happens again. But yeah, there's always some level of like low-lying pressure just because of how much we're doing and how much we're supporting. You also at the same time are having so much fun with your coworkers and with your actors that you're supporting, that it also kind of helps alleviate that, because you have this camaraderie and you're supporting each other and you're going through this together.
That's got to be great, though. Yeah, it's nice to have that support in the back there.
Yeah, definitely.
And that keeps your mental health also very, I'm assuming, helps. Like definitely. The mental health, self-care, but you loving your job and knowing you're in this wicked era of your life. That you're not thinking of all those days off right now, because you don't know what the future holds in a year, 2 years. I mean, it's a long running show.
Absolutely.
But it's still one of the most popular shows out there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you never know. And who knows? I'm very much a go where the universe takes me kind of person. Working on Broadway, working at Wicked, those things were never something that I like planned to do, or goals really, which is weird to say because I think it is a goal for so many people. My goals in my career have just always been to be somewhere that I feel challenged and fulfilled in what I'm doing. And so that's really what has led my career journey and what I look for in a job. And so when I started as a swing at Wicked, I'll be honest, I didn't love swinging. It's a very hard job and a very specialized skill, because you need to be able to jump into different tracks. So our swings and understudies who do this fantastically, like, I commend you because it's incredible. But the moment I had the opportunity to swing on the Elfie track, I had gone to my supervisors, because after I had run it for the previous dresser had gone on vacation. So I started off covering their vacation. And after about a week of it, I was like, I feel so challenged and fulfilled in this role, which is exactly what I want in any job. And so I actually went to my supervisors and I told them, I was like, someday when this track opens up and you start looking at who do we want to take over this track full time next, and you wonder, like, who here wants this? Who
Right.
would want this job? I want you to know now that I want this track, and I'm going to work really hard until I get this track.
That is amazing.
Because I knew I wanted it.
Crazy, incredible.
Strong, independent woman getting what she wants.
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah.
And I'm very much a, like, put out there what you want, vocalize what you want, ask for what you want, tell people what you want, and and then work for it. But I think so much of it is just vocalizing what you want, telling people what you want, what your goals are, what you're going for.
Communication.
Is that what you would tell your younger self?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Vocalize what you want, go for what you want, and then work towards that. Absolutely.
What would you tell to anyone out there who would ever want to do what you're doing?
I think that the best advice that I can give to anyone who might want to do this is that all experience is good experience, and do anything you can to get the skills that you need. There is no one set path into this. So while some people went to school, some people didn't go to school, some people are self-taught, some people, worked in different things and different paths along the way. If you're wondering, how do I get to this? Like, I would like to work at Wicked on Broadway someday in a wardrobe or a costume capacity. Start looking where you are. Don't think, oh, I don't want to work in community theater. Oh, I don't want to work at this regional theater. Oh, I don't, I want to do that. I worked in community theater. I worked in universities and high schools and regional and off Broadway. And all of these experiences gave me skills to be able to do what I do now. So look where you are, find classes, find community centers, find people who will teach you things, find anywhere that you can get skills and experience, and all of that will build up to getting to where you want to be and making you successful when you get there.
Oh, wow. That's great advice. Jessica, I know you make costumes. What type of costumes do you make?
Yeah, so for myself, I love to make anything under the sun. I have for many years attended comic book conventions and the Renaissance Fair and masquerade balls and all sorts of things like that are just sort of like fun extracurricular things. And so I love making historical costumes. I love doing recreations of like comic book characters and movie characters and, sometimes original things, especially when it's like for a masquerade or the Ren Fair, and I can kind of just do whatever, that I want to do. And I also, back when I lived in California and had access to the fabric district there, I would also do custom costumes for people who would reach out to me on social media. And so I do still try to go to events once in a while. I haven't had as much time lately, but I'm really hoping this year to get back into that and start making stuff for myself again, because it's really fun to be creative and get to like make this thing and then get to wear it out in the world and wherever. So yeah, kind of anything under the sun, you name it, I've probably made it.
Oh, I love it. Now, Jessica, before we wrap up here, we always end with this question.
Yeah.
What is your current obsession?
Oh my goodness. Do I have to pick one?
Nope. You can tell us any obsession.
Oh my goodness. I have so many obsessions. My cats. I have 3 cats of my own, and I also have 2 fosters. So I would say my kind of ongoing always obsession is my cats and my foster cats, and just generally the world of animal rescue. I try to be a big advocate for animal rescue, particularly fostering. Fostering saves lives, and I'm always trying to get people at my work, outside of my work, to foster. So that's kind of my big ongoing obsession. But I'm also like a big reader. I have my bookshelves. I'm always obsessed with, with reading and getting new book recommendations and travel and, TV. I have, all of my own little things, but I'd say like my biggest thing that especially everyone at work knows me for is my cats. It's always like the first thing people ask me when they see me is, how are the cats?
Yeah, how are the cats?
Love that. We have that in common. I'm obsessed with my little Posy. She's
yes.
She's my baby. What TV shows are you obsessed with right now?
So right now I'm actually in a big like rewatching binge. I'm kind of like rewatching a lot of old favorites. I'm doing a rewatch right now of Gilmore Girls, classic.
Love it.
Because it's been a minute since I've rewatched that one. I just finished a rewatch of one of my all-time favorite shows, The Good Place. That show is just hands down incredible.
With Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell.
Yes.
Great series.
Fantastic show. Love rewatching it. It's one of those shows. I really love a TV show that starts out feeling like kind of low stakes, really silly, really just kind of like an easy watch, and ends with you being like emotionally devastated because of how beautiful and deep it is.
Yeah.
Another one that I was just telling someone about that's sort of the same thing as Adventure Time. It starts off feeling very just light, low stakes, easy watch, really fun and cute. And then you end up emotionally devastated because these characters grow and the world grows and the story grows and deepens. And with The Good Place, it all just like deepens in such a way that you just end up like, I think when I watched the finale episode of that show, I just ugly cry like through so much like of that bittersweet joy through the entire thing. It's just the tears, they're just streaming. I'm also getting ready to do a rewatch of my all-time singular favorite show, if I had to pick one show ever, and that is Lost. Lost is
it's a good
my biggest TV obsession. And I just watched, there's a little Lost documentary on, I think on Amazon, that I just watched the other day that I can't believe I'd never seen, because I've watched Lost all the way through easily 8 times. Maybe 9 or 10 times, but easily at least 8 times. That is my like one true television obsession. That's my like, it's like the Shrek the musical of like the TV. Like if I hear anyone say anything that sounds like Lost, I'm gonna pop in and go, "Are you talking about Lost?
Oh, I love it.
Talk about Lost." Always trying to get people to watch it. Oh, I love
That's
that
very
show.
good. Jessica, we just wanted to thank you for being here. You gave us a wealth of information.
Oh, of course.
And we loved having you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
I'm so excited too, because I didn't know a lot of the stuff that you just went over, and you just basically taught me everything there is.
Amazing.
Well, not everything, but a lot of, behind the scenes of what goes on a Broadway play.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And I'm obsessed with you. Call me obsessed.
Call me obsessed.
Me too.
All right. Before we go, where can people find you on Instagram and TikTok and anywhere else on social media?
Yeah, I just do Instagram and TikTok. My handle is Beyond the Quick Change, and you can find me on both platforms under the same name.
Perfect. You guys make sure to give her a follow. We'll see you next time on the next episode of Call Me Obsessed podcast. Bye, everyone.
Bye.